Okay, in your packet you're going to have two envelopes, one containing all the hardware, the split ring, the magnet, and this O-ring which connects the leather to the split ring. And in this packet, obviously the leather, but you're also going to have this paracord, which I highly recommend you use in order to master the monkey knot. It's an easy knot to learn, but it's actually pretty difficult to master. You're also got to get two, which looks like chopsticks. They're actually straws, but this is for you to use when you're making the monkey knot. It makes it a lot easier to do with a pair of straws. Some people use a base, but I just like to, because we're using a small magnet, I just like to use two straws in my hand to make it easier to wrap, and I'll show you that in the next step. Okay, so our first step is going to include our leather, our magnet, and our straws. We're going to start by taking the straws, holding them in our left hand. I'm right-handed, so if you're left-handed, just do this opposite. And we're going to place the magnet right in between the two. This makes it really easy to wrap. You can also do this knot just using your hands, but I find it incredibly easier to use this. So start by doing this. You just lay the leather right over the magnet. Give it a couple inches of leeway. This is got to end up being the tail of our magnet where we loop on a hook, the split ring. What you're going to do is you're just going to wrap leather around the straws. You're going to do it 5 times. Alright, so you typical wrap just 5 times around, okay? Now you're going to take the end, slip it right in between the two, just like that. And now you're going to tuck your magnet inside the wrap, and you're going to pull the leather all the way around and over. Okay, so you just tuck it in and around. Alright, so now we're going to do this 5 times again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now here's the tricky part. This is very important. On the 5th wrap around, because we want the two ends to end together right here, we're going to slip this leather right through. So you're going to go 4 wraps around, and on the 5th wrap, you're going to slide it right through the top, just like that. Okay? Now this is another crucial part. This makes it a lot easier because so what we're going to do is we're going to take this end piece and we're going to try to slip it through these 5 wraps. So to do that, just stick it right into the straw and then pull slowly the magnet out. Alright? So now be careful here. You don't want the magnet to fall out. It makes it really kind of a pain in the ass to do if the magnet falls out. So here, gently hold it in one hand and then again wrap 5 times around. And this is the last time we're wrapping. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this part, that was 3, you got 1 more. So be careful here. You want to make sure that every time you do a wrap, you're not crossing over, so you have a nice line of leather wrap going around, so you're not crisscrossing. That makes it really difficult when we go to tighten it. So our last wrap, 1 time around, 1 more time around, and through. Alright, so that is the first part of the monkey knot. You have successfully completed it. Okay, so the second part involves us tightening this leather wrap around the magnet. Before we do that though, this is very important, you want to take a piece of metal, such as I have some scissors here. You can also just take this and put it onto a fridge or something. But make sure that the strongest point of the magnet is down by the base of your knot. The reason being is if you had the strongest point at the top here, anytime you try to put the magnet, the keychain onto a piece of metal, it will try to grab to that spot, which it really makes it difficult to hold anything heavier than 1 or 2 keys. So you got to make sure that the strongest point is at the base. So you just do that by bobbing up and down a couple times on a piece of metal, making sure that it grabs. So once you do that, it's down to tightening. So tightening is a little tricky. So what we want to do is we want to have one of these cords be very long and the other one short. This is a good length for the short cord. So we want to make sure that we're tightening so that we're pushing all the leather around and out to the long cord. To do that, we simply start by tugging at one of the pieces next to the end point and slowly bringing them around. So we're going to do this lightly the first time, and every time we go around we're going to get a little tighter and tighter. So I will go through this and speed up the video because it takes a little bit of time. Okay, so I did that once. Now we're going to do it again, this time getting it even tighter. So to do that, I'm going to use a small little screwdriver. We can also use a fork, anything that has a small point at the end to dig in to the leather and get in these nooks. So again, I'm just going to start on one side and slowly go around, tightening it bit by bit. And one thing to note, you don't want to tighten it too much on the ends, because if you do, you're going to have a gap in between. So leave a little bit of space there, because it will help with the overall wrap. Alright, so I've finished tightening the knot. As you can see, it's a nice even knot. There's no spots here that are showing the magnet. It's not too overly tight to stretch the leather. Definitely be careful of that, especially if you have the brown leather. The brown leather is a little softer than the tan, blue and black. So if you pull too hard, it will hurt the leather, and you don't want to do that. So make sure that when you're tightening your knot, it's not overly tight. But yeah, so the next step here is to create the tail of the knot so that you can hook on your split ring and make it into a keychain. So the knot that I like to do, it's pretty simple. It just goes like this. You have the long end in one hand, the short end just in the other hand, or just hanging there, I guess. Anyways, you take the long end and pull it right through, and this part is pretty easy. You just it's kind of like a push and pull. So you want to push the knot down and then pull gently with your other hand to make it secure. You're going to do that again, but this time you're going to go the opposite way. So the first time you went over and then through, this way you're going to go the other way, so over and back. So because I went one way the first time, I'm going to go the opposite this time and do the pull and then the push down and the pull. So it's just a matter of pushing and pulling and getting it tighter and tighter, because you want to have a nice firm tight knot to make sure the keychain stable. So I went that way. Now I'm going to go back the other way, and now you can start seeing the knot and the braid kind of come together here. So again, pull, push down, pull up, push down, and we're going to do that a couple times. So I like to do it about 4 to 5 times. Actually, now that I'm thinking of it, I'd probably do it about 8 wraps. So I'm going to pull, push, and a couple more, You can really do this as long as you want. You just want to make sure that long or as short as you'd like. But you want to make sure you have enough room at the end to make the tie with the O-ring here. So almost done here. I'll do one more. And on the final one, you might want to make it a little tighter than the other ones, just so it doesn't come loose. Awesome. So that's the end knot right there. So as you can see, it's kind of tight. It's not loose. And now we just go to the final stage. For that, you're just going to need your split ring and your O-ring. So to do this, you just start by your taking your O-ring and slipping it right through. Just like that. Alright, so now this part, it's a little tricky, but you want to take both cords and wrap them around, keeping the O-ring in one hand steady. And then I usually take one cord at a time and slip it right through the other side. Same with the other one. And now, same thing here, you just kind of pull and push down at the same time. And I like to line them so that they're the same. You don't need to do that, but I just like to have them both even. So let's see. Again, it's kind of tricky because the magnet wants to move all over the place and got to keep it stable. So once you get it, I like to keep it like this, so it's a nice 2x2 going around. And here we just pull hard on the end ones to make it a nice tight knot, and then push up little by little on the base. Okay, so final step here. The leather is now tight around the O-ring. The ends have been cut. Note that I gave a little bit of room up here for where I made that cut, because if I go too close in, the leather will eventually slip through, and it'll break the knot. So if you never want that to happen, I would recommend getting some crazy glue and just putting a dab of crazy glue on this part right here and this back part right here. And just a dab of crazy glue, not a lot, just something to prevent the leather from undoing. Now we just have the final part, which is the split ring. So we just take the split ring and put it through. And that's it. Now you have a monkey fist style keychain. Enjoy, and I encourage you to share your experiences with this. Send me some feedback, write it in the comments. Again, this is my first tutorial, so I will try to get better at this, but hopefully I give you enough information to learn, and hopefully you have fun. So enjoy, and thank you.